But that's not what I'm doing. I am simply making an armature that is going to be used to sculpt the figure. And so it really only needs to serve a very particular purpose. It needs to hold my character up as I sculpt. That's it. It doesn't need to survive any casting process, or and it doesn't need to be to bend in any certain way for animation. Okay, I'm gonna grab the sucker right here. If you are beginning to this sort of thing, and you are thinking, hey, I don't have all that stuff around the house, but what I do have is, some regular pliers and coat hangers. Don't do it. Trust me, it's really not worth it. That stuff is very difficult to work with. It'll hurt your hands more than it will help you. And if you ever intend to do much with your model, then you're really going to be in trouble. It's going to be very, very difficult to ever cut it up or do anything with it. That's something that that's a tid. Well, I've tried to work with coat hangers, and they're ridiculous. But I have gotten that tidbit of information from the Shiflett brothers. They're adamant that you do not try to use coat hanger wire. If you don't know who the Shiflett brothers are, look them up. They are some just incredible sculptors in Texas. Actually, they don't live far from me, and they really got famous doing sculptures for Marvel characters like the Hulk and Juggernaut and Wolverine. But now they primarily do their own stuff. And, well, here's one right here I've got. This is Buri. Oh, you know what? You're not going to be able to see this at all. It's, there we go. That's a little better. Look at that guy. That is Buri. It's a bust. Just an absolutely beautiful figure from the Shiflett brothers. So if you're into sculpting, and particularly if you're into Frank Frazetta, if you're not into Frank Frazetta, I don't know why you're into Jack Houston, but yeah, definitely recommend checking out the Shiflett brothers. Amazing sculptors. Okay, so here we go. Oh, and if you're interested in learning this stuff, Nomon School. The Nomon School actually has some. Well, they have a DVD with the Shiflett brothers sculpting live, and it's pretty neat. Of course, they don't really use these techniques. They have their own way of doing everything, and it's a little different. But man, you can't argue with the results. I mean, they're geniuses when it comes to sculpting. Okay, so I've begun to put these bins back in, and what I'm seeing here is that they're not really matching up, because what will happen is when you go to get these bins back in there, just a minor difference in your bend will cause your armature to be completely out of whack, and that is why it is very, very important to pay attention to this diagram, because you'll have your character designed, and you think, oh, this guy looks great, I love this, and then you start to put it together, and it just doesn't work the way that you thought it would. You end up with a character who is bigger than you anticipated him or her being. Maybe the legs come out too far, or something isn't in proportion, and if that happens, you're not sticking to your armature map closely enough. Okay, so getting pretty darn close here. Okay, so there's that, and then I'm going to go ahead and put these bins back in. and give him his arms back. Okay, and then I'm going to just take a shortcut here and put these bins back as well. Okay, so now what we have 2 legs, 2 arms. Now you're probably thinking, well, how are you going to stick these guys together? Well, and I shouldn't have put all the bins back. This guy right here is part of that answer. In order to keep the model steady, and you don't have to do this, a lot of people just put a sturdy armature together and bolt the armature down and sculpt like that. But if you really want to be sure that it's not going to go anywhere, you know, you can mount it using plumbing hardware like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to put these through the your T, okay, and match them up and get them through here. And when they're all together, now you may not be able to get as many layers as I have here. Okay, if that's the case, well, that's okay. That's why you have all this extra thickness here. And you can just go ahead and get rid of one of these. Okay, stick this guy in here. Again, this is why we would be doing this differently. If I had to animate this guy and I had to count on these parts moving a lot, then I wouldn't want to, be stuck with chinchy little, armature that's kind of half, taken apart like this. But for sculpting, it's going to be fine. It's going to be just what I need. Okay. Now, okay. So what you want is you want this piece to be right above the pelvis. That's kind of the sweet spot for this guy. Okay, and you want these guys coming through here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, and he's actually going to become the neck. So we've got the 2 legs here, we've got a neck right here, and we've got the arms coming out here. So now we have all the parts that we need. The question is, how do we get all of this, oh, I slipped it down. How do we get all of this to stick together without wobbling around and spinning? Well, the answer to that is plumber's putty. So we're going to stick plumber's putty inside here and pack it in there through this hole, and the stuff dries about 5 minutes, or I should say cures in about 5 minutes, and it's going to keep it rock steady in there once it's cured, so that our character will have a nice, strong, solid base, and we'll be able to lock him down here and hold him steady as we sculpt, and not have to worry about the piece being rocked around and wobbling, falling down, anything like that. Now, how do we get the hands on the head? We're going to do that with brass tubing, and the way that works is that we put a little piece of brass tubing over a piece of the armature wire. Okay, and then another piece 1 gauge down from this piece, and we stick the hands in here, and then these slide together and interlock, and then we can glue them together with plumber's putty, or you can in fact, I would suggest not gluing the head and leaving the head removable with these two pieces able to slide out, so that you can take the head off and work on it separately while you're working. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all that stuff. So in the next video, I'll show you the results, and I'll be cutting this, just so you know. Probably was not a little long. Yeah, obviously you want to cut this with a Dremel, and you don't want to do any of these things without proper safety glasses. I just want to throw that out there in case you guys are playing along at home. And then we are going to have an armature that will be somewhat simpler than the one that you've seen before, although this one's going to be taller, because this one is made for stop motion animation, so it has a very specific build to bend only at very specific places and do specific things we needed to do. This other armature is just going to be for sculpting, and I will show you the results in the next video. Alright, thanks.